So the conversation around the release of Throne and Liberty is already taken kind of a flexible turn, as the devs are talking about they might be willing to delay or postpone the release to make sure that it's not within the window of Diablo 4. And as we dive into this article I'm going to share with you, just note there are some translation issues that I'll kind of call out as we see them, because they don't necessarily make sense, but they're kind of funny if we kind of think about it. And also shout out to Reeve Genesis, again, tagging this guy in the description. He's putting out really good work. He tweeted out this article, and that was what made me aware of it. I thought this would be a good kind of conversation to have, especially as it relates to the release date and its potential shifting into a third quarter release. I'd like to know how you guys feel about any of that. But if you guys want the source, be sure to follow Reeve over on Twitter or on his YouTube, or check out my Discord. I'll have a link to this article there as well. So links are all in the description, guys. Go nuts, have fun. But let's go ahead and dive into it. It says, while Amazon global publishing is being anticipated, this is obviously right before that announcement. Over in Korea, it is available release schedule. It's only going to be a slight delay trying to avoid Diablo 4, and they seem rather positive on that. The article goes on to talk about how overall the investment securities for NCSoft on the 24th, that they're talking about possibly postponing the release of Throne and Liberty, and it might be negative for them in the short term for their stock price, but only if it's a slight postponement and it's actually considered rather positive. So the researcher at Dow Investment Securities said that Amazon Games has been decided as the global publisher for NCSoft in its most anticipated Throne and Liberty, adding Amazon publishes directly in the existing main regions, Korea, Taiwan, etc., and publishes in newly expanded regions, North America, Japan, Europe, and South America. And to correct some of these translations, NCSoft is actually handling Korea, Taiwan, etc. I think I talked about that just briefly in a video yesterday, but in North America, Japan, Europe, and South America is where Amazon's going to be handling it, and it's the hope for Japan that we actually see an SEA region added into the list itself. Now they go on to talk about overall with the fact that it was scheduled for the second quarter and it could possibly be delayed, and they continue to say the release schedule may be adjusted on a timer other than the second quarter, but it has not yet been determined whether the direct publishing era or the global publishing region will be separated. So what that tells us right here is it has not been confirmed whether or not that they're just going to release it all together, or if they're going to do a staggered delay like we're seeing with Lost Ark and Blue Protocol. In my mind, it kind of makes sense for there to be a slight staggered delay. And I don't know how you guys feel about that. Obviously, I want to go hands-on with the game, but in regards to them having the game out in Korea, will give us some insight into what is coming down the pipeline. And when it comes down to this, because of the two different publishing arms, I could see that the differences that are going to be implied or applied by Amazon when it comes to like monetization. And if you guys aren't aware, I see a lot of people having concerns about Amazon being the publisher, but then they're making it less egregious when it comes to like the games like Lost Ark. And you might not agree, but go play the Korean version and you will see a vast amount of differences that Amazon takes into account for more Western-minded audiences when it comes to these kind of games. Now it goes on to talk about the fact that while Diablo, and they say Diablo 3, a part of the translation is really Diablo 4, is not necessarily an MMORPG, they continue to encroach upon that genre. It continues to kind of dip into that. And so because of that, they're thinking about a strategic decision to actually wait and move it outside of that. Now, they've completed their final test on February 2nd and 21st, which was a local test. And I'm betting we're going to start seeing more media like this, like more people talking about the game. That media blitz is going to start kicking in as soon as they have that really idea targeted release date confirmed. We know that Diablo 4 is launching at the beginning of June. We know that's going to be very exciting, a very exciting time for that game. And there, like you could have one or two arguments, right? You could say, well, let's move it out from that so you're not competing directly. People can go get the Diablo fix and then they can come check out Throne of Liberty. But you can also say, like, there's the argument that it's offering something different. And for me, I'm really excited about playing Diablo 4. I've played all the Diablos. Diablo 3 was a lot of fun, but it was lacking in certain degrees. They have updated it in several respects. I've already played Diablo 4. I'm very excited about jumping back into that game, and so I'm personally very excited for that. But when it comes down to it, these are going to be two different games. Diablo 4 blends that line between, the MMO more so as it's shifting into kind of that shared world as opposed to like a full open, always online kind of world aspect. And I think that's going to be something that's going to be immediately felt with that franchise. So anyway, this is where I think, like I said, I teased it earlier, it gets a little funny. With the help of Amazon Games, they expect to be able to sell 100 million initial users on Steam alone after the release of Throne of Liberty. So this tells me that it is coming to Steam, which is great. That's actually something that I want. I like that. I hope that it also means GeForce Now. I hope that opens it up to a lot of different options. But 100 million initial users, I think there's got to be a translation. There's got to be, I could see 10 million. I could see 10 million initial users. We know New World, we know Lost Ark, we know these games pull in a massive amount of people right at the start, and then they drop. I think somebody was trying to, again, like, when you go actually look at the numbers, like if you even look at like Final Fantasy 14, after Endwalker, the population dropped like 90%. And then content brings people back. You're never going to achieve that initial offering like you did with World of Warcraft or Fortnite, where the game's main population continues to grow, as opposed to usually get the hype, you get the drop. So I could see 10 million being the correct translation, but 100 million, whoo, that's some Square Enix milestone goals being set out there that then they come back and say, well, we only sold like 15 million, which was lower than expected. And you're like, oh man, that's a bummer not to celebrate 15 million or something like that, as that ends up being quite large. So guys, I just wanted to give you guys this information. Is setting up. They are targeting June. However, that could shift. June is a busy month for games. For me, the beginning with Diablo 4, ending in Final Fantasy 16. I know that I would personally rather them not fall into June. I wouldn't mind July. July could be a really fun time for this game. Right into the summer, lots of people off school, a lot of people hopefully able to kind of kick back, relax, play, longer days, longer nights. It is going to be what it is. Let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the news post. Hopefully I will see you guys in the next video. But until then, take care.